Have you ever wondered why some women seem to have an inexplicable magnetism? That special quality that makes men willing to risk everything for them? It's not about physical beauty or manipulation techniques. It's about something much deeper that you can start cultivating today. When you understand that the power to completely transform how men respond to you is in your hands, everything changes. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Have you noticed how you react when a man ignores you, or when he says something that hurts you? Most of us immediately fall into a cycle of reactions. We defend ourselves, we justify, or worse, we obsess trying to understand why he acted that way. Every time you react impulsively to a man, you're giving away all your power. Louise Hay always reminded us that our thoughts create our reality. When you allow your emotions to control you, you're creating a reality where he has the power to affect you. And men can sense this. They can feel when a woman is constantly reacting to their words, their texts, their actions. Think about the last time you got upset about something the man you're interested in did or said. Maybe he didn't respond to your message on time, or he casually mentioned his ex, or simply didn't give you the attention you expected. How did you react? You probably felt a mix of anxiety, insecurity, even jealousy. Perhaps you wrote to him immediately, or your mood changed, or you started questioning yourself. What you don't realize is that each of these reactions sends a very clear message. You have power over me. You can control how I feel. However, when you learn to stop reacting, something magical happens. You become unreachable, not in the physical sense, but emotionally. You become a mystery he wants to solve. There's a very simple but powerful exercise I invite you to practice. The next time you feel the impulse to react to something a man did, stop, take a deep breath and count to 10. Ask yourself, does this really deserve my energy? Does it deserve my peace of mind? And then, consciously choose not to react. Observe what happens when, instead of bombarding him with messages when he disappears, you maintain your calm and dignity. When instead of complaining because he looked at another woman, you simply smile with confidence because you know your worth. When instead of getting angry because he arrived late, you show understanding without wasting your time or energy on unnecessary drama. This change in your energy is palpable. Suddenly he notices that he can't destabilize you so easily. And this intrigues him. Because men, deep down, yearn for a woman who is a calm ocean, not a constant storm of emotions they have to navigate. Repeat this phrase every morning in front of the mirror. I choose my peace over reaction. No one has the power to alter my center. Have you ever felt that if you let someone go, you'll lose them forever? This fear is what keeps so many women trapped in relationships that don't value them, chasing men who don't appreciate them. And about that fear, that desperate attachment, we'll talk in the next point. The second secret to making a man risk everything for you is learning the art of letting go. Seems contradictory, right? Letting go to retain. But there's a deep truth here that Louise Hay explained perfectly. The point of power is always in the present moment. We can't change the past or control the future. We only have power now, and that power includes the ability to let go of what doesn't serve us. Most women desperately cling to relationships, to potential partners, to text messages, to mixed signals, to crumbs of attention. We live in fear of losing that man, even though he was never really ours. We stay where we aren't valued, believing that if we just try a little harder, if we're just a little more patient, he'll change. Sound familiar? How many times have you forced a relationship that clearly wasn't flowing? How many times have you ignored your intuition telling you something wasn't right because you were afraid of being alone? How many times have you tolerated less than you deserve because you clung to the idea of what that person could become? Here's the most liberating truth you'll learn today. Nothing you have to beg for deserves to be kept. Nothing you have to desperately chase is truly yours. And most importantly, what is destined for you will arrive without forcing it. When you release control, desperate attachment, and the need for things to be as you want, something amazing happens. You create space for what you truly deserve to enter. And by the way, you become infinitely more attractive. Have you noticed how men react when they feel a woman is too attached? They distance themselves. It's almost instinctive. But when they feel that a woman has a full life, that she doesn't depend on them to be happy, that she could leave at any moment if they don't treat her well, that woman becomes someone worth fighting for. I propose a transformative exercise. Identify something you're clinging to right now. Maybe it's a man who doesn't give you his full attention. Maybe it's a relationship that no longer makes you happy but you're afraid to leave. Maybe it's those old messages you keep checking for signs that he cares. Now imagine what it would be like to simply let go. Visualize opening your hands and letting that situation, that person, that expectation float away from you. Feel the lightness, the freedom that comes with letting go. Breathe in that new space you've created. From today, every time you feel the anxiety of attachment, repeat these words. I release with love and trust that what is for me will flow to me without effort. The true power of detachment is that it returns you to yourself. It reminds you that you are complete, valuable, and enough on your own. And when a man senses that you don't desperately need his validation to be happy, he'll see you as someone worth winning over every day. Think about it. Haven't you felt more attracted to someone you know would be fine even without you? There's something magnetic about people who aren't afraid to be alone. Men feel it. And they'll risk everything to be with a woman who knows she'll be fine with or without them. If you really want to transform the way men see you and relate to you, you have to start practicing the art of letting go. Not chasing, not pushing, not controlling. Simply allowing what should be, to be. Would you like to discover how to attract the man who truly deserves you effortlessly? Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to receive notifications. We're just beginning this transformation journey. Now, there's something that the most magnetic women have mastered perfectly, and that few understand: the power of silence. And we'll talk about that in the next point. The third crucial element that makes a man risk everything for you is the mystery that comes from silence. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, seen, and constantly validated, the woman who knows how to be quiet and maintain a certain reserve has extraordinary power. Louise Hay taught us that what we keep private empowers us. What we announce to everyone dilutes it. When you share every thought, every emotion, every plan, and every pain with a man, what's left to discover? You've given him a complete map of who you are without him having to make an effort to know you. Think about classic movies, about the women who have been etched in our collective memory as icons of femininity and mystery. They weren't the ones who talked the most. They were the ones who knew when to be quiet, when to smile enigmatically, when to let their actions speak for them. Have you noticed how men behave when a woman tells them absolutely everything about her life on the first date? Or when she explains in detail why she's upset, repeating the same point over and over? Most lose interest, not because they don't care, but because the mystery has evaporated. Contrary to what many believe, men enjoy the discovery process. They want to earn access to your thoughts, your feelings, your stories. When everything is immediately available, without effort, without mystery, some of the charm is lost. This doesn't mean you should be artificial or play games. It's simply about recognizing the value of your inner world and not exposing it completely to someone who hasn't yet proven they deserve it. There's a simple exercise that can completely transform the dynamic with men. The next time you're in a conversation, practice the art of the pause. Before responding, take a moment, breathe, think. Don't feel obligated to fill every silence. Observe how this small pause changes the entire energy of the exchange. Also, try this. When a man asks you about something personal, instead of launching into a detailed monologue, offer a brief but intriguing answer. Leave space for him to ask more questions if he's really interested. Don't give him an open book. Give him a fascinating chapter that invites him to want to read more. See the difference? When a woman constantly talks, explains everything, justifies every decision, the man assumes the role of passive listener. But when she maintains a certain mystery, he becomes an active participant, trying to decipher her, understand her, earn her trust. And there's something else. Silence allows you to observe. While others talk, you can notice details, catch inconsistencies, perceive hidden intentions. Silence not only makes you more attractive, it makes you wiser. Repeat this affirmation daily. My silence is powerful. I don't need to reveal everything. What I keep to myself protects me and makes me more intriguing. Have you noticed how the people who talk the most are often the least heard? It's an interesting paradox. By talking less, your words carry more weight. When you finally express an opinion or share a feeling, others, especially men, pay full attention because they know you don't waste words. This contrast is precisely what makes some men willing to risk everything for certain women. The woman who doesn't need constant validation, who doesn't explain every decision, who maintains a certain aura of mystery. That woman awakens something primitive in them, the desire to conquer, to discover, to earn her attention. Of course, this doesn't mean you should become cold or inaccessible. The goal isn't to create barriers, but to establish a healthy balance between what you share and what you keep to yourself. Be an interesting book, not one whose pages are all exposed at once. Have you noticed how the great love stories in literature and film almost always involve characters who keep secrets, who don't reveal themselves completely from the start? There's a reason for this. Mystery is the fuel of desire. A question for you. How many times have you felt the need to explain every detail of your life to a man you just met? How many times have you talked out of nervousness, filling every silence with words that perhaps weren't necessary? From today, give yourself permission to be quiet, to observe, to be an enigma worth solving. If you really want to transform your relationships and attract a man who's willing to risk everything for you, start valuing the power of silence. Let him wonder a little more about you. Let him work to discover you. The most valuable treasures are never in plain sight. And now that you understand the power of silence and mystery, it's time to talk about the fourth crucial element. When you prioritize yourself, the entire power dynamic changes in your favor. And that's precisely what we'll talk about in the next point. The fourth secret that makes a man risk everything for you is perhaps the most powerful of all, prioritizing yourself above any relationship. This goes against everything we've been taught as women. From a young age, we've been conditioned to put others first, to sacrifice ourselves, to be available, to please. But Louise Hay expressed it perfectly. Self-love is the starting point for everything else in our lives. Have you noticed how some relationships seem to consume you completely? Suddenly, your dreams, your passions, your friendships, everything takes a back seat. Your schedule revolves around his availability. You cancel plans if he decides he wants to see you. You abandon hobbies because you don't have time between working and attending to him. You distance yourself from friendships because he needs you. And without realizing it, you've become a satellite orbiting around his world. And what happens then? He begins to take you for granted. Why wouldn't he? You've shown him that you'll always be there, regardless of how he treats you. You've taught him that his needs are more important than yours. You've communicated with every action that you are an option, while he is a priority. The truth is that men don't value what comes easy. They don't appreciate what they don't have to earn. And they definitely don't risk everything for someone who is always available, always willing, always waiting. Does this sound familiar? How many times have you set aside your own needs to satisfy his? How many times have you said yes when you really wanted to say no? How many times have you tolerated behaviors that go against your values just out of fear of losing him? Here's the perspective shift you need. When you prioritize yourself, you're not being selfish. You're establishing the standard of how you deserve to be treated. You're communicating without words that your time is valuable, that your energy is precious, and that not just anyone has access to them. And this, paradoxically, makes you infinitely more attractive. Because men respect women who respect themselves. They value those who have clear boundaries. They're intrigued by those who aren't desperate to please them. I propose a transformative exercise. For a week, every time you're about to make a decision related to a man, ask yourself, am I doing this because I really want to, or because I fear losing him if I don't? Be brutally honest with yourself. Now start establishing small boundaries. Don't always be available when he calls. Have your own plans that you won't cancel for him. Maintain your passions and friendships. Continue building the life you love, with or without him. And when something doesn't feel right, have the courage to say no without feeling the need to justify yourself. At first, it can be scary. You may fear that he'll walk away if you're no longer constantly at his disposal. But here's the truth. If he walks away because you now have healthy boundaries, he was never yours. And most likely, exactly the opposite will happen. When a man perceives that you're not like the others, that you won't abandon your essence to please him, that you have a rich and full life that doesn't revolve around him, something changes in the way he sees you. Suddenly you become a challenge, someone he must earn every day. And for a man, that's irresistible. Repeat this affirmation every morning. I love and respect myself enough to put my needs first. I attract relationships that add to my life, not subtract from it. Have you noticed how women who seem to have less need for a relationship are often the ones who attract the most committed men? It's no coincidence. It's the result of prioritizing their own well-being, happiness, and growth. A man can feel when a woman is complete by herself, when she doesn't need him to fill any void. And that woman, who doesn't need him but chooses him, is the one for whom he'll be willing to risk everything. So today, make a commitment to yourself. Promise yourself that no matter how much you love someone, you'll never put yourself last again. That your dreams, your needs, your boundaries will always be priority. And observe how this simple change transforms not only your romantic relationships, but your entire life. If this content is helping you, don't forget to like the video and share it with other women who could benefit from this message. Together we can create healthier and more balanced relationships. And now, let's explore the fifth and final element that makes a man risk absolutely everything for you. A level of transformation that completely changes the way the world perceives and treats you. And we'll talk about that in the next point. The fifth and most powerful secret that makes a man risk everything for you is reaching a state of complete emotional self-sufficiency. It's that moment in your life when your energy changes so radically that the entire world, not just men, begins to treat you differently. Louise Hay described it as the power that emerges when you recognize that you are the only person you're going to spend your entire life with. When you truly internalize this truth, something magical happens. You're no longer someone who begs, who chases, or who settles. You become a force, a presence that others can feel even before you speak. Have you ever met a woman like this? She enters a room and something changes in the atmosphere. She's not necessarily the most beautiful by conventional standards, nor the most extroverted, nor the most elegantly dressed. She's simply someone who radiates an energy of wholeness, of completeness. She doesn't seek validation. She doesn't seek approval. She simply is. And men feel it. They perceive it immediately. That woman automatically becomes the most intriguing, the most attractive, the one who awakens not only desire, but deep respect. Why does this happen? Because when you reach this level of emotional self-sufficiency, you communicate without words that you don't need anyone to be happy, that a relationship for you is not a desperate need, but a conscious choice, that you're willing to be alone rather than be in bad company. And paradoxically, this attitude makes quality men want to give more, try harder, commit more, because they intuitively know that if they're with you, it's because you truly choose them, not because you need them to complete you. How do you reach this state? It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of inner growth that requires constant work. It begins with total acceptance of who you are, with recognizing your inherent value, regardless of your romantic status. It continues with healing past wounds, with forgiveness toward those who hurt you, and toward yourself for the times you allowed less than you deserved. And it culminates with a daily decision, choosing yourself over and over again. Do you find it difficult to imagine that level of emotional freedom? I propose a powerful exercise. Close your eyes and visualize the most confident, most complete, most radiant version of yourself. That woman who doesn't depend on anyone to feel valuable. That woman who is at peace with herself, who loves herself unconditionally, who knows exactly what she deserves and accepts nothing less. Do you see her? Now breathe deeply and allow that image to integrate within you. Because that woman is not an unattainable fantasy. She is who you truly are beneath all the layers of doubts, fears, and insecurities you've accumulated over the years. Repeat this affirmation every day, preferably in front of the mirror, looking directly into your eyes. I am complete. I am valuable. I am enough. I don't need anyone to validate my existence. My happiness comes from within. Over time, you'll notice subtle but profound changes. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you relate to others. You'll no longer have that energy of need, of lack, of desperate searching. Instead, you'll radiate a calm, a confidence, a peace that will be magnetic. And here's the final transformation. When you reach this state, the dynamic of your relationships changes completely. Men who previously ignored you now seek your attention. Those who took you for granted now strive to impress you. Those who didn't value your time now respect it. Why? Because now you're truly unreachable. Not in the physical or emotional sense, but in a deeper sense. No one can make you feel less than you are. No one can take away your peace. No one can make you doubt your worth. And a man will risk absolutely everything for a woman like this. Not out of fear of losing her, but out of the deep desire to be worthy of her every day. Do you realize the power you have? You don't need tricks, or strategies, or games to make a man commit to you. You just need this inner work, this journey toward your own fullness. Have you noticed how the strongest, most enduring relationships are those where both people feel complete on their own? They're not together out of necessity or fear of loneliness. They're together because they choose each other, because they add to each other, because they inspire each other to be better. That's the kind of relationship you deserve. And to attract it, you don't need to change your appearance or learn seduction techniques or pretend to be someone you're not. You just need to return to yourself, to your essence, to your power. The path to being a woman for whom a man would risk everything begins with a simple recognition. You are already everything you need to be. You just need to remember it, live it, embody it. When you stop reacting impulsively, when you learn to let go of what doesn't serve you, when you cultivate the power of silence, when you prioritize yourself, and finally, when you reach this emotional self-sufficiency, you become an unstoppable force. A woman who not only attracts men willing to commit, but who transforms everything around her. If you've made it this far, there's something you already know. Becoming an irresistible woman, someone for whom a man would risk everything, has nothing to do with external tricks. It's not about being more beautiful, younger, thinner, or smarter than other women. It's about inner work, a profound transformation in how you see yourself and how you relate to the world. This journey isn't easy. It takes courage to face your fears, your insecurities, your harmful patterns. It takes discipline to practice these 5 principles daily. It takes patience, because real transformation doesn't happen overnight. But I promise you that every step you take in this direction will bring you closer not only to healthier and more satisfying relationships, but to a fuller life in all aspects. Louise Hay left us a powerful legacy by teaching us that the point of power is always in the present. It doesn't matter how many failed relationships you've had, how many times you've been hurt, or how long you've been settling for less than you deserve. Today, in this moment, you can begin to change everything. Your challenge from now on is simple but profound. Comment below the following declaration to seal your commitment to this change. I choose to be unreachable for anything that doesn't add value to my life. My energy is valuable and I protect it. And every day remember that you have the power to transform not only your relationships but your entire life, simply by choosing yourself over and over again. If this message resonated with you and you know other women who could benefit from it, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to receive more content that will help you on your journey of transformation and personal growth. Remember that you deserve love, respect, and commitment, but it all begins with what you give yourself. Thank you for joining me today. See you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring the keys to transforming your relationship with yourself and, as a consequence, all your relationships with others. Remember, as Louise Hay always taught us, love is the great healing force. Love for oneself produces love for others and allows the love of others to reach us. Everything begins and ends with self-love, and when you cultivate it, you become someone for whom any man of value would be willing to risk everything.